co-host?
Yes.
Wolf, your co-host.
Okay, you are live.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We will call the Park Commission meeting to order on June 9th, 2021. So we will have our secretary do the roll call, please.
Thank you, but before I do, the procedures adopted for this meeting meet or exceed standards set forth in Governor Gavin Newsom's Order N-29-20, which allows public meetings like this one to be held by teleconference to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. At this time, it would be appropriate to conduct roll call and afterwards to confirm certain matters for the record. Commissioner Dorlick,
Present.
Commissioner Keniston Lee,
Here.
Commissioner Birnbaum,
Present.
Commissioner Roberts,
Here.
Commissioner Ellicott Pesic,
Here.
Vice Chair Oslin,
Here.
and Chair Lopez Lucy.
Here.
Thank you. And I would like to verify that all members of the committee can hear me well. All members of the committee have been able to hear all previous speakers, including the roll call, and each committee member believes, based on facial or voice recognition or otherwise, that all persons representing themselves to be a committee member are in fact committee members. If all three statements are true, please indicate by raising your hand. And finally, as a reminder, any votes taken during this meeting must be taken by roll call. Thank you.
Thank you. And would you do us the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes,
Christy, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 4 on our agenda this evening is special items and announcements. And do we have any special announcements?
Why, yes, of course, we always have a few announcements. So I'm so happy to say that summer has officially begun with kids in camps, rec swim, fun on the farm every Saturday, and everyone, I think, eagerly awaiting that June 15th announcement that says we can really go for it completely. So we've still got all our safety precautions in place for COVID-19, but everyone's very optimistic and excited. So if you get a chance to stop by the community center, you know, one of these weeks in summer, you get a real dose of fun and energy. So it's well worth it. And also, if you didn't get a chance to visit the art gallery, it still has all the Art and Wind Festival artwork up and the beautiful kites. So definitely worth a stop. There will also be an open space hike this weekend on Saturday, June 12th, 9 a.m. on the Monarch Loop Trail. That's a 2.7 mile hike. I know if you would like to attend and assist the Open Space Advisory Committee members, they would love that. So just please let me or Christy know, and we can advise Lorraine to expect you. You don't need to pre-register because we would look at you as one of the VIPs helping talk about all the great open space we have. Now, if you need something else to do, we have a Parks Make Life Better Cleanup Day coming up at Boone Acres Park on June 19th. And there's also another cleanup coming at Crook Canyon Gardens, but I don't have that date available. But if you're interested, I'll make sure to get that back out to you. In addition, we weren't able to schedule the Facilities Committee meeting last month. It had been my intention, but we couldn't quite get that all pulled together. So we will be looking to schedule a Facilities Committee meeting to talk about park attributes for the BR6 Summerhill Homes Park. That was the topic of the joint meeting. So we'll be looking probably at June 23rd, and Christy will be emailing out to the Facilities Committee about that. And yes, Don, I know that you're on that. So that'll be the big question, whether or not you want to do one last Facilities Committee meeting or would like the chair to, I guess he would like to see the shake. I think he would like Chair Lopez Lucy to assign someone else to help with that. And Then finally, I want to ask you all to look at your calendars and potentially save the date of July 6th. There's going to be a joint City Council and Planning Commission meeting that I think would be good for all of you to watch. It will not be one that you will be formally at, but that meeting, they are going to be discussing the BR6 Summerhill Homes project, as well as a general plan update, both topics which will touch the commission and involve lots of things we're doing. So just wanted to get that all on your calendars so you'd know about it. And that's it.
Well, thank you. All right, and next on our item is 4.2, our temporary employee of the month for May, and I believe that will be presented by Mr. Edwin T. And I believe you're there, Edwin. I can't, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
On, thank you.
So I'm trying to see where Patrick is. Oh, there he is. All right. So the city of San Ramon, I would like to present to you Patrick Manuel for being chosen for the May temporary employee of the month. Patrick has begun working for the department in 2019 as the assistant activities manager. He works for our teen center, for our sports and youth division. During COVID times, he helped with the employee child care program. So Patrick is a native from Antioch. He attended Los Medinas College in Pittsburgh, where he got his degree in liberal arts and humanities. On the weekends, you can go see Patrick at the Pacific Coast Football League. He is actually a player in a football league. He plays center, long snapper, guard, left tackle, and field goal snapper. One day he hopes to become a professional football player or a Contra Costa sheriff. Patrick is being recognized tonight for always jumping in and helping when needed. Patrick has been a huge help to the Parks and Community Services Department during the month of May. As many of you know, May is the busiest month of the year for youth programs as we finalize preparations for summer camps. Similar to playing in multiple roles for the Stampede, Patrick wore many hats for the department during the month. He worked in the employee child care program. He kept adult softball games, and most notably, he assisted with the preparation for the Art and Wind Festival Spirit Week. He took the lead in creating 1,000 Art and Wind Festival Spirit Week swag bags. This was no small task, as he cut ribbons, made origami kite kits, and much more. Patrick is one great example of the stellar staff that we hire, who is dedicated to the department and to improving the life in San Ramon. So let me present to you, Patrick.
Thank you. Congratulations, Patrick. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes. Well, hi, my name is Patrick Manuel. I enjoy the work that I do in the city of San Ramon. I like the people that I work with, and I'm honored to be an employee of the month. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, we really appreciate your energy that you have. And, and your two things that you want to do in the future, play football or a Contra Costa sheriff. Maybe you better do the football first and then do the sheriff, whatever. But anyway, we wish you well in those endeavors. I think they're great things to strive for. But I just think I can see that you have a lot of patience, because making those 1,000 Art and Wind Festival Spirit Weeks things and all that, you have to have a lot of patience and understanding. So, I mean, you can do most anything, I think. So we appreciate that we have such energetic people in our city that like you. So congratulations and continue on your good goals.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if anyone else would like to say something, please feel free. But thank you, Patrick, for being with us. And again, good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Then we will go to point number 5, public comment or written communication. And Ms. Christie, do we have any public speakers at this time?
No, we have 9 in attendance, but no public speaking.
Okay, thank you. We will then go on to approval of 6.1, the Parks and Community Service Commission regular meeting for May 12th, 2021. And if I could have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Scott, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Oh, I can't do that because we have to take the vote by hand from our secretary, Christie.
Yep. Commissioner Dorley,
Aye.
Commissioner Keniston Lee,
Aye.
Commissioner Birnbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Ellicott Pesic,
Aye.
Vice Chair Oslin,
Aye.
and Chair Lopez Lucy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Our next item is number 7, consent calendar, and I do not believe that we have any consent items at this time. So we will move on to number 8, commission business. And number 8.1 is the 4th of July Run, San Ramon and Independence Day Celebration Concert Update. And I believe Mr. Cox will be making that presentation. Steve? You're muted, Steve.
Well, thank you, Chairperson Lopez Lucy. Thank you for having, and the rest of the commissioners for having myself here tonight. I did want to lead into Andrew Hubbard, who's also here with me tonight to present both the Run San Ramon and the 4th of July concert. I believe we do have a slide that'll come up, and I am going to lend this to Andrew first, as he will be discussing the Run San Ramon.
Yes, thanks, Steve. Good evening, commissioners. It's my pleasure to join you this evening and update you on the festivities for the 4th of July coming up here in San Ramon. Like Steve said, I'll be presenting on the Run San Ramon portion, and Steve will be focusing on the summer concert portion of the events that will take place on the 4th of July. So next slide, please. So we're very excited. This is the 29th year of the Run San Ramon. We've offered it for 29 consecutive years. We were actually able to offer it last year as a virtual event. So we're able to keep that number moving forward. With the recent release of the California June 15th Beyond the Blueprint guidelines, it's looking very promising for the event to be able to take place in person. However, that being said, there will be some minor modifications to the event to make sure that it's possible and in line with all the health orders and requirements that we are anticipating being released on June 15th. Some of those modifications include we will only be offering the 5K portion of the event. Typically, there is a 10K element and a fastest mile component as well. The decision actually had to be made earlier in the planning process before the recent guidelines were unveiled. And the decision was made to only offer the 5K portion just due to logistics and some of the anticipated COVID-19 restrictions that we thought might take place. So therefore, we're going to stick with that plan and just offer the 5K portion of the event. The other modification is that there is a capacity on the event. We are accepting registration. Registration is currently open, and we're accepting registration for up to 600 participants. Registration options include online, mail-in, or in-person at packet pickup, which will be on July 3rd from 1 to 5 at Sports Basement. There will not be race day registration available for this event. So online registration will remain open through the end of day on July 3rd so that we are ready to go on the morning of July 4th. So the event will take place Sunday, July 4th at 8 a.m. is when the race will get underway. And that will take place at the San Ramon Community Center like it typically does. With the start and finish line being in front of the community center on Alcosta Boulevard. So another modification for the event is that we will have participation medals, and typically commissioners, city council members will help us distribute those medals at the finish line. But this year we will be handing those medals out and distribute them at the packet pickup, which, like I said, will be held at Sports Basement the day before on July 3rd. Everybody is encouraged to go to Sports Basement. They're one of our long-standing partners for the event, and they will be offering a 20% discount for merchandise at Sports Basement at packet pickup, as long as you show your race bib. But just to simplify things and minimize touch points and things like that, we are going to be distributing those medals ahead of time at the packet pickup. And same will go with the t-shirts and the race bibs. They'll be able to pick those up at the packet pickup at Sports Basement. Those that are unable to attend Sports Basement the day before will be able to pick up their t-shirts and participation medals at the event the morning of, prior to the race, from 6:45 to 7:45. So they'll be ready to go in time for the 8 o'clock start time. We will be having refreshments, ice cream, and snacks like we traditionally do. However, there will be a slight modification into how it's distributed, with it being monitored and distributed by staff versus just the grab and go model that we've used in the past. And again, just to follow anticipated health orders and eliminate touch points and things of that nature. We are planning an award ceremony to take place after the race is concluded. Typically, the award ceremony will take place after the last age group finisher has crossed the finish line. So we expect that will get underway at 9 a.m. approximately. We do plan on inviting the commission to attend to help distribute awards, and we will be providing that invitation in the coming weeks as all of the details are finalized. So keep your eyes open for that. We hope that everybody can come out and support. We're very excited that this is really the first in-person large-scale community event that we'll be doing. So we hope that you can join us. At the award ceremony, there will be a trophy for the overall male and female runners for the fastest 5K time, as well as we will have medals for the top 3 finishers in each age group. So like I said, that typically will get underway approximately at 9 o'clock, but it does depend on the speed of the runners that day. We will continue to monitor the health order as it is officially unveiled on June 15th, and we will be finalizing plans and providing updates on our website, as well as providing any critical updates to the commission and city council for the invitation to attend the event. Like I said, we're very excited to see the health order on June 15th and have an in-person run for July 4th. And with that, that's my update. So I'll pass it over to Steve for the summer concert portion.
And thank you, Andrew. And for the second half of the 4th of July celebration, I'm here to present the Summer Independent Celebration Concert. I'm equally excited that we are planning on holding this year's 4th of July concert in the San Ramon Amphitheater. Of course, we're also monitoring the guidelines that are coming forth from the state of California and Contra Costa County, but we do anticipate that restrictions will be lifted and we will be allowed to hold the concert in full. This year, we are very excited to have Fleetwood Mask that will be take the stage. They take the stage at 6 p.m. and they'll entertain the crowd with the very best of Fleetwood Mac's 50-year history of music. And they'll focus on the 1975 forward 5-piece version of their lineup that catapulted them to superstardom. And we're very excited. I think that's going to be a great concert for the community. So, we're hoping that we get a really strong turnout. We also will start the evening at about 5 p.m. And at that, we'll have the Olympia Fields brass section take the band, and then also have a tribute to our active and current veterans that are there in the crowd. Additionally, we plan to have our food trucks back at the summer concerts, and we'll have both a sweet and savory there, and we'll be monitoring that. But it should be able that anybody there for the concert should be able to go get something to eat and then come back into the bowl there of the amphitheater. We also are excited that the San Ramon Arts Foundation will be providing beverages, including beer and wine. We'll also we're excited that that's going to be possible. So we're anticipating that we will have a great celebration concert, that we're going to have a full crowd, and that, of course, we're monitoring all the restrictions that'll apply, but it should be a very fun concert and really a great opportunity for the community to get back out into San Ramon, into our parks, and just enjoy their summer. So we're very excited about that. I also wanted to talk about quickly and Christy, if you could turn the next slide. That will be followed by our very exciting summer concert lineup that we have. So following our 4th of July celebration concert, the next 5 consecutive Sundays will also be followed by our summer concert series. That does start at 5:30 p.m., but in the same location. And as always, admission is free. And we think we put together a really good lineup that the community is going to enjoy. Everything, as you can see, from the pop favorites and 70s to a Bob Seger and Creedence Clearwater tribute band. And then we also even have a Bollywood music band that will be playing. And then August 8th, we'll finish out with Mustache Harbor, which is a yacht rock band. It's going to be a really exciting summer concert series. So we're really excited to be able to provide that. And I should just mention, we really love that the community comes out and supports us. The San Ramon Arts Foundation, Food Truck Mafia, who's going to be providing the food trucks, and Chevron and their generous contributions that allow us to put forth these summer concerts. So we do have more information available at our website there. And if you have questions on the times or date, and looking for more information, that can be found on the website as well. And that is it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Steve and Andrew. We appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions for either one of them? Yes, Julia.
Thanks, Andrew and Steve. I'm so excited, really excited for both events. Actually, all 3 and all summer. I think my question is more probably directed to you, Steve, about the summer concerts. And I'm just curious, I know in the past, I've started to notice a lot more umbrellas and kind of those shade tent type, I don't know what you call them, but sort of a shade tent thing that people get in that's around. And I'm just curious, when those are put up, sometimes you can't see the stage. And so I'm curious what the city's thoughts are about positioning those types of umbrellas or shade tents.
And just so I understand, so you're talking if someone who comes to the concert and puts up their own umbrella or shade structure.
Yes.
So we do understand that, sometimes the concerts can be warm, especially at the early hours. We do have staff on hand, and we would like to be able to go out into the community and the crowd there and talk to them, hopefully to prevent any obstruction, so that everybody there can enjoy the concert. We encourage low back chairs, throw blankets, and if someone is looking for more shade, we will obviously try to work with them to find either a location closer to the top of the hill. And we're really lucky that our trees on both sides provide quite a bit of shade. So, we want to work with anybody there who's there to enjoy the concert, make sure they're, if they got the space that they wanted. But we do make our staff quite available so that we can help, resolve any kind of viewing issues.
Great. Yeah, that's something I have noticed is that sometimes they will they'll come in a little bit later. People have already positioned themselves, and then there will be an obstruction to see the stage. So just curious about how the city's planning on addressing that, possibly walking through and making sure that people are with those might be a little off the center area, but just a suggestion to be mindful of that. So that everybody can enjoy and see the concert. And I think my only other question was on the flyer that you have created. It does say if health restrictions are still in place in July and August, pre-registration in advance for concerts may be required. So just curious how that will be communicated to the city of San Ramon residents.
Yes, and currently under the current tier system, that's the verbiage as it's worded. So of course, when we were putting this together, we wanted to make sure that we were abiding by all the current restrictions. We are watching what takes place here June 15th very closely, and to our understanding, those restrictions will hopefully be lifted and we won't have to have the actual ticketed or seated location for the concert. We do have, though, some planning that we did prepare for. If we have to do that, we're looking at that, how we would implement that. And we'll, have to communicate that to the community if it isn't lifted June 15th.
Great. Thanks, Steve.
Any other questions? Yes. Heidi.
So I appreciate, I think that's really helpful having to Commissioner Oslin's question, having city folks out there to talk to people. I think that's really, really key in terms of the shade, but I also am a big believer in setting expectations in advance. So looking at your flyer, it mentions low back chairs and stuff, and I know this is adding to it, and I don't know how widespread the flyer is, but even if it is already widespread, I'd suggest adding some information about that, if people bring shade implements, they need to set up in the back, and that there should be no obstruction of view. I think it'll be a lot easier for the employees that walk around if that's already been very clear in all subsequent communications, if at all, whenever possible. But I like the low back chair, and I think you should think about maybe adding that just to make it cleaner. 2 cents.
Thank you. Any others? Well, thank you both, Andrew and Steve. Good job. And I think it will be quite successful because everybody will want to be outside and see each other and take an active part. So thank you for your plans. Very good job. Right, we are now going to go on to our next item, which is 8.2. It is the election sign temporary public art pilot project. And that will be presented by Erica Valentine, our recreation coordinator. Erica?
Thank you. Just to confirm everyone can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Erica Valentine. I'm arts coordinator for the city of San Ramon. This evening, I'll be going over the election sign temporary public art project. This would be the pilot program, and if approved, it would be a brand new and unique program for the city. So this evening, you'll review the project, and that will include the theme, location, as well as the duration. So we've developed a temporary public art project by upcycling election signs and repurposing them with original hand-painted art. So the election signs will be painted white ahead of time and primed by city staff or volunteers prior to being handed off to the artists for the artists to paint their own original artwork onto them. The objective is to implement a temporary outdoor art exhibit that is inexpensive, accessible, provides visual enjoyment to the viewers, provides an opportunity for artists to participate and engage through their artwork, encourages people to get outside and go to the park where they're on display, and encourages and exemplifies upcycling and reusing materials. So on the inexpensive point, we are reusing materials. So the signs were donated, so we don't have to purchase many supplies. We already have them. And then in terms of accessibility, a lot of our public art and public art in general is really limited to professional artists just due to the nature of the work. So the election sign project will be able to kind of cast a larger net to more artists. They don't necessarily need to be at that highest level of knowing about engineering and all kinds of murals and public art, just because the sign is a smaller sign and kind of easier materials. So in November and December, we collected donated election signs from past candidates. We received around 150. We got a lot more interest than 150 to be donated, but we thought that was a good starting point that we could kind of store and start to get the project going. But there's definitely no shortage of willing people to donate their signs. And February, I received feedback from the Arts Advisory Committee, and that feedback has been taken into consideration for the overall project proposal. So they discussed criteria, mediums, themes, locations, as well as the potential duration. On May 19th, staff presented an updated project proposal to the Arts Advisory Committee. They ranked the themes, proposed locations, duration, and all aspects of the program. They did unanimously approve the project and recommended it be forwarded on to the Parks Commission. The pilot will take place sometime in the fall of this year, and it would be targeted to artists ages 16 and older. The project is easily implemented with future rounds, so it would be fairly simple to do multiple rounds of the project with different focuses. So whether that's targeted towards just children or a different theme or a different location, it can easily be adapted if we do the program more than one round. We anticipate to utilize about 50 of the election signs. That will depend on the interest of artists and overall just how many we receive. But we think 50 is a good amount to kind of make a very visible exhibit. All of the artists will be required to submit just a very simple application, which will be through a call for art. And they'll, excuse me, they'll have to submit a general sketch and design, as well as some previous work samples. The Arts Advisory Committee will review all of the applications. So depending on how many we get, they'll still review them all. If we receive well over 50, the excuse me, Arts Advisory Committee may have to do more of a formal scoring system, which they're very used to through the art galleries as well as utility boxes. So they may need to score them in order to get a ranked list if we're not able to take all of them, and we do need to narrow it down. In terms of the theme, excuse me, in terms of the theme, there were 3 options. Their first choice was coming out of COVID, signs of hope in the future. The second was going green. And the third was celebrating culture, diversity in San Ramon. The Arts Advisory Committee felt that the coming out of COVID theme was more unique and special in terms of this time, and to receive artwork specific kind of about what everyone's gone through, especially through an artist lens, would be really special to kind of have in terms of this moment of history. They did like the other themes, but felt like those could be kind of rolled out anytime, potentially later on. But the COVID type of theme with signs of hope and positivity kind of after this whole thing was something that would be best to do first. In terms of location, they ranked the following. So the first choice was Central Park. Second was Doherty Station, the outdoor area sort of in the courtyard near the public art piece that's out in that courtyard. And third was Forest Home Farms. We did discuss other locations such as along the Iron Horse Trail. That would be dependent on the East Bay Regional Park District, as well as Crow Canyon Gardens. The Arts Advisory Committee thought that for the specific to the pilot, we should start at the more populated locations that people really know about, just to kind of get the program established, and then later on possibly look at some of these other locations. They also liked Central Park just based on the high amount of visitors, visibility, familiarity, as well as the proximity to staff. So at Central Park, with proximity to the community center, it'd be very easy for staff to be monitoring the signs, checking on them, walking around. It's just a lot more people. So we think that there would be less issues as far as someone taking one or things getting damaged, that we can kind of frequently walk around to view the display. For the duration of the exhibit, we anticipate that they would be out for about 4 weeks. 4 weeks was determined because it gives people enough opportunity to view the work, and it's comparable to our art gallery exhibits, about a month, but it's not too long where we think, they're just going to get damaged in that timeline. In terms of the duration and the style of the program, the Arts Advisory preferred that the exhibit be at one location for 4 months and then move to another location, or not 4 months, 4 weeks. So 4 weeks at Central Park and 4 weeks at the Doherty Station area. The other option was just one independent location for 4 weeks. They preferred the moving type of element, just it's more similar to a pop-up type exhibit, which we kind of are seeing is more popular, as well as just it's on the 2 separate sides of town, providing more people the chance to view it and just kind of spread out the work. Also with Doherty, similar to Central Park, it's close proximity to staff. Not as many people walking around, but a lot of staff to be there to monitor the signs, and then the close proximity to DVC and the library. Some additional information, there will be a QR code for each sign. That would take you to the webpage off of the city website. There would be artist information about each artist, as well as the signs would be photographed. So again, while we don't anticipate much vandalism just based on how other temporary public art has gone in the city, everything will be cataloged once we intake them. So they will be photographed. So in the chance that something does go missing, we could always reprint it, or we'll at least still always have the artist's artwork and what they made. After the program or after the exhibit, the signs will be retained by the city. So they'll be the cities to possibly use again, repurpose, or put out on exhibit again for the future. Again, the program can really be easily adapted if we wanted to look at other locations, other themes, or age groups, but the information in this specific proposal is really just for that pilot, so that first round. So we would, of course, if it gets approved, we would evaluate how it went, make potential changes if we want to roll it out multiple times. There would also be signage about the program on display with the signs, just so people are clear what it is, who made it, just so they know it was artists that created it, this is the theme, for more information, all that kind of information. And in terms of the fiscal impact, it is only $300, which is estimated for the supplies to prime the signs and paint them white. That will be handled by city staff or volunteers, again, just to make sure that they are, of course, primed correctly, which will help them be weather resistant and stand for a long time. So that would be handled before giving them to the artist. The artist would be responsible for their own supplies in terms of painting their artwork and doing their design. And then when they would return them back based on a date deadline, we would then be able to seal them, which helps with color fading and water and things like that. For this project, stipends for the artists will not be offered, just because the nature of the program is smaller in scale. So they're not painting, say, a utility box, which takes them many weeks. The sign is sort of a manageable size and more of just a community project. So we won't be able to offer stipends for that. But we would be advertising the artist information, which they usually really appreciate. The steps following approval is to develop the call for art, application timeline, as well as marketing materials to begin implementation. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Erica. Very good job. I'm sure that probably some of our commissioners have some questions or comments. And we have, we'll call on Mr. Beerbaum first, since he's our special guest or our last meeting and a special guy. So we'll call on him first. And you got to unmute. Okay, you unmuted. Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson Lopez Lucy. Erica, another example of you guys thinking outside the box, let's say. You brought forward and helped manage the utility box program, which, every day when I'm driving around the city, I see those and it makes me smile. And I just think this is going to be another one of those great programs that will make people happy that they live here in the community. And it will also allow some of our budding artists an opportunity to get their artwork out there. So I just very enthusiastic about this. I think the art subcommittee that approved this is right on. It's just a great thing, and I really thank you for it.
Thank you.
Heidi, please.
Okay, I'm going to assume that's me.
That's you, not our other Heidi. I'm going to be more.
I love it when I love it when Commissioner Birnbaum gets all warm and fuzzy. That's great that you started with him. I just want to piggyback on that and say that Erica and the Arts Advisory Committee, you guys are on fire. I mean, I feel like there's just so much momentum with using art as a community building tool and for a way to help healing and all the good things that Kathy and everybody knows art can do. I did have one question and one other comment. My question is there a formal name to the program? I'm a lot about marketing, and I'm wondering if there's like this succinct thing you're going to be able to market the heck out of it, as opposed to like election artwork pilot project. What is it called?
We haven't come up with a name that's better than the election sign of temporary art. But I think we're definitely working on it, just as we don't necessarily, it won't really have anything to do with the election or any of that. So we'll, try to rename it so it's really just focused on art, and we could, potentially rename it for, different themes. So, but still working on that.
I would advise that we have an overriding name of the project that we can use to share it with the community, because I'd like to see a branding built around this project, especially since you're going to, be implementing it in continued phases. Mm-hmm. Just something where they say, oh, that must be part of that project, even though the theme may change. I'd love to see something catchy and something that the community can really rally around. And then my last comment would be with regard to I like everything I see here, so I have no changes whatsoever. But I would like to just say I have a lot of energy around making sure that we do get things like, I like that 4 weeks in Central Park and 4 weeks over in Doherty Valley. I think that's really critical, as all of us seem to have this mission of creating a unified San Ramon and building community as a whole. And so it's really important to me that that timing be implemented. So I would totally support that timing. And I love the idea of, in the future, getting it over to places like Forest Home Farms, and maybe having a theme of artwork that celebrates our history. So I love that you guys are looking at different places where we can do this, and I think it's a great project, and I'm really, really pleased. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Scott, please, your comments.
Thank you. Chair Lopez Lucy. And thank you so much, Erica. I'm so pleased to see the city considering this project. In addition to the list of benefits you listed, I also believe it shows the community that, the city cares about art and self-expression, which really helps us build and share the heart and soul of who we are as a city. So I'm really excited about this. And I like the idea of starting with the COVID and healing theme, in addition to the other themes that you talked about. So thanks again, really, for pursuing this. I think it's fantastic for the city, and we really do need more art. And this is great. Two comments that I have. One is, I know that you listed a few potential areas once we get past this pilot. Really, I hope that, once we do get past the pilot, I hope that we kind of, because we're using these signs, they're very mobile, right? I hope that we can look at doing this at every park in the city. There are some people that live in certain areas of the city that may never visit one of these areas that we've listed. And so, maybe with the help of the committee, the arts committee, having this as a pop-up at just about every park in the city, I think would be a fantastic goal for us to try to achieve. So just one comment there. And then the other one is, Erica, did you say that the signs will be weather resistant, treated prior to giving it to the artists when they do the art, or is it after?
It's kind of a two-step process. So the first step is priming it, which would make it white, and it does help. It just helps like the paint not chip and peel and everything, and keeps it brighter. But then once they give it back to us, we would also do a sealant, which helps with like if there's any vandalism or tagging on it, and just kind of like seals it so we can wipe off anything.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. No, the reason why I was asking is because I've had some experience with these signs, and as durable as they are, they do get, I guess, messed up in weather. And what I was thinking is that because this will be in the during the time that we're talking about, it may be difficult to place these signs in areas of the park that won't get hit with sprinklers, right? And I know that they're weather resistant, but daily, I'm not exactly sure how much these sprinklers will be on, but I mean, talking about a month, if they don't get moved, that daily, water, or however long that, it could create some damage on these signs. So just something to think about, but at the same time, I don't know if it'll be very feasible to put them in places in parks that won't get hit with the sprinklers. So
we'll definitely loop in Public Works if they might have, recommendations. I know Central Park, there's some locations like right along the sidewalks or walking paths, that might, work better than in the middle of the grass. But yeah, we'll have to watch that for sure.
Great. Well, again, thank you so much. Very excited about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And Julia?
I'll let you put my hand down. I was looking for my hand. Thank you very much, Erica. Thank you, Chair Lopez Lucy. I am really thrilled about this. It's very exciting. I just love the idea of, what's the word? Upcycling. I had to look it up. I'm like, what's the difference between recycling and upcycling? So I kind of feel like this is an opportunity to kind of educate people, because I didn't know that right off the top of my head. I think of recycling as just repurposing something, but no, recycling is actually recycling it and making it in. Anyway, I won't go into the details, but definitely worth educating around what upcycling is, and what a great idea actually this is. I think my only comment, besides what my fellow commissioners have said, I completely concur. I love the idea of branding it. What Commissioner Keniston Lee was bringing up, I think that's really important, because I see this as something that can continue on. So really thinking about what that might be, but also like make this like an opening night or like have a kickoff or something to really like have a debut when it does move around. I think that's a great opportunity, and I'd like to suggest that the Arts Advisory Committee and you, Erica, as their leader, think about opportunities to actually like make something about bigger about this, food trucks, something that could make it really fun too. So thank you so much. I'm really excited to see this evolve and come out and see it. Thank you.
Thank you. That I will comment on that. It kind of like we have been doing maybe some things of opening parks. Maybe you could have a little event like that it wouldn't have to have food or anything, but just a celebration for other people. So that's a really good idea. Yeah. And Mr. Willow.
Thanks. Erica, I'd be more worried with vandalism in their past incarnation rather than the new incarnation. I think we probably have more vandalism when they're election signs. So I think we'll be okay there. And as far as a program goes, how about something like voting for art? You know, something about how we in the community vote for art and bring that as part of the program. So maybe something along those lines.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think this is a very good project, and I thank you for your efforts that you lead us in new ideas, Erica, and they're really great. So I think this is really a really good way to use these signs in a fun and interesting way. So I think it's good. So if we have no more comments, I would need a motion to approve this project and go with the first choices of the Arts Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, I'm sure our secretary, Christy, you got all that, you have all that information. So moved is kind of hard to take. All right, then would you take the roll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Dorlick,
Yes.
Commissioner Keniston Lee,
Aye.
Commissioner Birnbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Ellicott Pesic,
Aye.
Vice Chair Oslin,
Aye.
and Chair Lopez Lucy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Erica, you may proceed, and we look forward to when we can have maybe an event and see all these signs in the park.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Item 8.3 is our Senior Citizens Advisory Committee appointment recommendation. And Kathy, please.
Absolutely. So we have a Senior Citizen Advisory Committee appointment for you to look at this evening. As you know, our Senior Citizens Advisory has 7 members and 2 alternate members, each serving a 2-year term. There are currently 2 vacancies, 1 regular position, 1 alternate, with terms expiring in 2023. The city clerk advertised the vacancy as replaced on the city website, posted in city facilities, and on Nextdoor. 1 application was submitted. A subcommittee of the commission interviewed the applicants on Friday, May 28th, and they have recommended that the Parks and Community Services Commission recommend to the City Council Edward Carranza Jr. to serve on the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee with a term expiring in March of 2023.
Thank you. Did any, Julia or Scott, do you have any further comments on the gentleman?
Well, I'll just say that, it was a pleasure interviewing this gentleman. He was very prepared, had excellent questions, and to be honest, he's probably out of the many interviews that we've had for various positions, I would say that he is, one of the top stellar residents that is truly and wants to be engaged. And so I'm excited to that we have people like this who are that interested.
I think I would agree. I mean, he was exceptional. talented and is just retired and wants to give back to the city. So I think the Senior Advisory Committee will benefit from his term on the Senior Advisory Committee. I think, Julie, you probably agree.
I totally agree. It was a pleasure to meet him, and his enthusiasm really shined through. So I'm excited to get him involved. So it was great.
Would you like to make a motion then to accept this and to forward it to the City Council?
I will make a motion that we accept the nomination of Edward Carranza Jr. to serve on the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorlick,
Yes.
Commissioner Keniston Lee,
Aye.
Commissioner Birnbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Ellicott Pesic,
Aye.
Vice Chair Oslin,
Aye.
and Chair Lopez Lucy.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Then our 8.4 is a Crow Canyon Gardens update. A verbal report will be given by our director, Kathy Heineman.
Yes, so as I know, the commission is very interested in what has gone on and has spent many, many hours and lots of time looking, discussing, thinking about Crow Canyon Gardens. So I wanted to make sure to give you an update and give you an opportunity to talk about it. So just to get everybody up onto the same page really briefly, the City Council originally accepted the Commission's 3 recommendations, which you might remember were the natural serene setting, keeping programming at a low level, and demolishing the structures. And then they later reversed themselves on that recommendation. The item was sent to the Policy Committee to further examine the options. And at that point, staff was directed to provide cost estimates for the other alternatives that would save just a portion of the building. The original alternatives we came up with didn't do that. It was kind of an all or nothing kind of a thing. So staff contacted a consultant who developed 3 different scopes so that costs could be identified for each. The consultant called one the Jewel, which was going to save a limited space, just one room with the barrel vaulted ceiling for very small programs, really more of an interpretive place that you could walk around, look in the windows, see the barrel vault, interpretive signage, but small. Then they had one that was the Event, and that would be saving several of the rooms that had the barrel vault, again, with the windows around the outside, maybe a little more space for, a little bit larger events, but still not extremely large, and not the whole building. And then the last concept was much in line with what the commission originally said, which would be to construct a pavilion or a monument using some of that ode to mud in the way the construction would be done in the interpretive signage. The cost to get all 3 of the scenarios, so what this was to actually get the consultant to tell us how much it would cost to build those different things, was $59,000. And the reason that it costs so much is because trying to take just one section of the building and figure out how much it would cost to actually do that is expensive, and to do that 3 times over, increases the cost. So the policy committee reached consensus that a consultant was not needed. However, they split on which scenario that they really liked. And so when it got taken back to the full City Council to discuss, they voted as a group to move forward with the Jewel concept, which would just save one small room with the barrel vault so you could look in the windows and see that as an interpretive space, and then it could be used for small special events. So now at this point, now what does that mean? So staff will be developing an RFP to try and find an architect, landscape designer kind of a team to generate a design and park plan that would include the renovation of the one room or the Jewel in the structure, as well as all of the other attributes that the park needs to have done. So the plan would we need a person to design a plan that will integrate the existing park elements with the new space created by removal of a large portion of the building. The plan would then include, how's the parking going to work, the park restroom, the walking path, the expanded garden plots, the interpretive signage, and the building. So once we do the RFP and we have an architect and landscape designer team selected, staff will then have a cost. So they'll take that cost to develop the park plan to the City Council for funding. if funding is approved, then the commission would get involved at that point and would be a part of reviewing and providing input on the park plans, kind of as you would for any park in the system. So, and once we then have a plan, once we've got a plan that everybody likes, how this is going to look, and we know how much it's going to cost, then we would include it in the CIP, and then finally identify the bigger chunk of funding of how we go about making this all happen. So there's still many, many steps to this process. It's not like, okay, we're going to build Jewel, let's just start. It really, we need to figure out how we do that and how we integrate it with the rest of the park, and how we keep the attributes that the commission already identified were important, but still we've got entry issues, we've got signage issues, we've got movement issues. And so we just need to figure out how that's going to look. So it's going to be fun. It'll be a nice project, but you can just expect us to slowly but surely move through it, because it'll probably take several months just to find that architect and landscape person to start it. Does anybody have any questions or any issues that you want to talk about?
Well, I know Don is laughing up there, but I don't know if he really wants to share his comments.
I'll say something, because I can't not say something. I found it very irresponsible of the city council to make the vote that they did, not understanding the financial implications that it has. What they voted on, I don't believe they truly understand the cost. And where the money is going to come out of other projects and other things that need to be done for the city. So I was very unhappy and very sad to see that this council made that decision without truly understanding the cost. I believe 2 of the council members had an understanding of that, but the 3 that voted in favor, I felt were totally, did not take that into consideration.
Thank you, Don, for your comments. Does anyone else have any comments?
And remember, I could say it because I'm gone.
I do thank you, Kathy, for bringing us up to date on that. And I do think it'll take several years before we'll see this happen to come to fruition, I think, unfortunately. So, all right, no further questions?
Whoa. I had my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I'm sorry, Mr. Will. Your comment.
No problem. No problem. I
Lower
just want to say here, totally agree.
Thank you. All right, so our next.
I still have to interview, so, you know.
I won't make further comments. Okay, 8.5. If there are no objections, I'm going to move 8.5 after number 12. So if I don't hear any comments, I'm going to move on to the staff reports 9.1, Recreation Program and Community Services Report. Does anyone have any comments to the issues in 9 point? And Heidi, you have your hand up. Yes.
Yeah, just really quickly, I just wanted to say, as I was reading the staff report, and of course, everybody would understand this, it dawned on me, we have this amazing blueprint now for how we can continue to celebrate Art and Wind Festival with this Spirit Week. Should, heaven forbid, that we have to ever scale back again, staff has put in all this work and infrastructure, and they've got this blueprint. And I love that we have that in our toolkit. And that's all I wanted to say is I think it's great. It's not just a one, maybe, hopefully we can continue to do the Art Wind Festival as in its, traditional form, but I just feel like staff really proved their mettle. They do all the time, but I really thought they proved their mettle with this one. And I love that we have it in our arsenal of ways to cope with challenges. Good job.
Thank you. I will say, the staff did think some of the things that they did implement, they want to see maybe implementing some of them in different ways into the actual festival, because we learned a lot. So really appreciate that. I'll pass that on to them.
And the other thing I'd like to say, because when I reported today, because our city manager had said that about the budget, that we had money not coming in from Parks and Community Services because we couldn't rent the spaces or have the classes or, whatever. But I will emphasize, and I think it's a great that the Park and Community Service served over 41,000 meals since the pandemic began. And I just think that the staff has gone above and beyond what normally we would expect. So I think kudos for everyone in the Parks and Community Services. And I know the police helped also and whatever, but any more comments on 9.1 recreation program?
I do, Chair Lopez.
Yes, I'm sorry, Julia.
So I just wanted to comment on the Old Ranch open space proposed trail update. I myself and Don Birnbaum, Commissioner Birnbaum, were invited to listen in on the community. What are we calling it? It was kind of like a town hall with the residents of this community where the trail was going to be was proposed, and I was really proud to be a part of this process, how the city really listened to the residents, and the residents came prepared with their information that they wanted the city to hear. And I just really felt that this was a good example of how we communicate well with each other. And I felt that the city listened very carefully, took the information in, and now has made some steps to take a deeper look at the proposed trail. So it was very nice to be a part of this process, and I was very proud of the city on how it was handled. So just want to comment on that.
Thank you for your comments. Yes. All right, we'll move on to 9.
Carol, I just want to reiterate, I just want to add to what Julia said. That was a wonderful process. And I thought, Kathy, that Keith did a great job of bringing it together, working with the residents, listening to the residents. And I think we came up with a good solution, which was we're going to get the trail and we're going to make the people there that live in that neighborhood happy. And, it's a win-win. And I just, I applaud you guys for it.
Well, I'm going to thank both of you for doing that for our commission. And for, I think it was a good outcome. Okay, before I look down, I don't want to cut anyone off. Then we will go to 9.2, maintenance and operations report. Any comments? Yes, Heidi. Go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly on the restroom, the Memorial Park restroom vandalism, Kathy, it just got me to thinking, I'm not really clear on where we have security cameras in our park system, if we have any, and I not necessarily for this meeting, but it would be good to look at where we're at with monitoring our parks and maybe discuss at some point whether we want to enhance that and whether that makes sense from a security perspective. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We can bring that up in the future. I'm not conversant on what we've got in different locations. I know of a few, but we'll definitely see if Public Services wants to bring that to a future meeting.
Yeah,
good idea. Yes,
Thank
Julia.
you.
I just had a quick question, Kathy, about the water issue at Crow Canyon Gardens. It said that someone had tampered with the drinking fountain by installing a sprinkler head, so it would constantly run. Was this to water the gardens?
I'd have to ask Scott about that one. I saw from the image in that picture myself that it was on top of that post, but that wasn't really near the garden area. But we do have Public Services here. They might be able to speak more to it. I don't know. Scott, raise your hand if you're willing. Yeah, Scott's happy to pop in here. Can you bring him in?
Curious.
I think you're there, Scott. There you are.
Yes.
Good evening, Chairman Lopez Lucy and fellow commissioners. Hi, Kathy. From my understanding, they excuse the expression, jerry-rigged a sprinkler head on the water fountain so it would run constantly. What it was for, as you say, I'm not sure. I think it might have been just, I believe that was a warm weekend, so it might have been just for entertainment value for children to run through the sprinkler, but we have since removed that, and it shouldn't happen again.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
You're very welcome.
Did it run a long time, Scott, or was it just a?
Not that we're aware of, but you know, the East Bay Mud water bills are 2 months in arrears, so we'll take a look at that when it comes through. But I can't imagine, Chairperson Lopez Lucy, that it was much water, because it's a half-inch line. So even if it ran, 24 hours, it shouldn't be much water.
Thank you. Thank you for answering our questions.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have any comments? The only one I wanted to ask Kathy, maybe you too, Scott. It did say that we did catch the person who did the vandalism at the restroom. So now will the parents then have to pay for our repair of that?
Once again, I believe the police do have some surveillance in the area. You asked earlier about cameras within the park. We don't have any surveillance cameras within the park, but recently PD has installed license plate reader cameras that they were able to catch a vehicle going in and out of the park at the time that this occurred, and that's how they were able to apprehend this person. And it's an issue now that I believe it's gone to the district attorney's office for further reimbursement of the fees. But we did put a price tag on the amount of work that our staff did, and they did an excellent job. I think you can see by the report itself. So that's all in the hands of the county right now.
Hey, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any other comments on 9.2? All right, we're going to go up to number 10, update on city council reports.
Okay, so quickly, on May 25th, there was a special presentation on the Art Wind Festival Spirit Week, and our poet laureate did read a poem entitled Wind and Kites and Art and String, and did a great job. They accepted a proclamation declaring National Safe Boating Week, May 22nd to the 28th. They received the City Teen Council annual report. They did also adopt the City of San Ramon's residential traffic calming program handbook and toolkit. I'm just racing through because I know I got a time frame here. They did continue the public hearing confirming the landscaping and lighting district diagram and assessments. Kathy already covered the Crow Canyon Gardens, so she got that. And then last night's city council meeting was a proclamation honoring the retiring administrative services director, Ava Phelps. So that was very touching and it was wonderful. She'd been here for 34 years. Wow. And I think she was amongst the first employees, right, Kathy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the knowledge she must have. There was a proclamation declaring June 2021 as LGBTQ plus. Did I get that right? Pride Month. And we have a LGBT flag on the new flagpole on the corner of Alcosta and Bollinger. And also it's on the marquee, as I recall. So, and then there was some discussion about the East Bay the East Bay Mud gave a presentation they gave their annual update. It was fascinating, actually. They talked about water supply, budget, infrastructure, where water comes from, how it's distributed. And so if you're into water, you should check that out because it was very educational. And then I was actually on the I-5 going south. And so Kathy, I had really bad connection. And so Kathy caught the rest of the meeting for me. So I don't know, Kathy, if you wanted to just mention briefly, what they talked about.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few other items that probably wouldn't be of too much interest that related to pavement and some other things. They talked about garbage, garbage rates and the hardship that the garbage companies had because of COVID with the businesses not needing their big garbage and downsizing, and the residents needing more garbage, but then the funding not working out. So they approved some funding for that. They
And then there was discussion, there was supposed to be discussion on how they were going to conduct the Parks and Community Services Commission interviews. Did they do that?
They did, and so they indeed decided to do a group interview and re-interview all 11 applicants. I believe there were 8 returning applicants that had been in the pool previously when Heidi Ellicott-Pesek was appointed. And then there's one new person that wasn't in that. And of course, our very own Chair Lopez Lucy and Commissioner Dorlick. So they're going to be conducting a group interview, I believe, was what they decided. They also approved the operating budget for the city, which is great because now we've got the marching orders to move forward. And they officially canceled their first meeting in August, which is kind of a tradition in the city.
Hey, thank you. Committee reports. Who would like to go first on committee reports? No volunteers here. Okay. Julia, please.
Sure. I sit in on the teen council, and this was our last meeting of the year. It was May 18th. And the thing that's probably most noteworthy to report out on, besides the students all ready to begin their summer, graduate and then begin their summer, was that the ambassador program, the Teen Council Ambassador Program, they've got their application completed and they are looking at making this a year-long program rather than a half year. Apparently in the past, they waited until they had their new council and then they got their application together and launched it. So they only had their ambassadors for half the year. And this year they're doing it different. They're going to have it for the full year. So the application should be done. And Jonavi is going to be the new, I believe she's the new chair, student chair that we will have, student commissioner. That's all I have.
All right. Scott, do you have a report?
Yes, I do, Chair Lopez Lucy. So a couple of items to share from the Senior Advisory Committee meeting this last Monday, a couple days ago. The first was an AARP age-friendly community presentation given to us by Steve Cox, which did not call for any action. So the presentation stems from the AARP network of age-friendly states and communities, which is essentially a program that partners with and encourages local officials and residents to pursue changes that make communities more accessible for people basically of all ages, especially older adults. Some of the initiatives zeroed in on housing, caregiving, community engagement, and really solving the problems around senior isolation. An interesting stat that I got from that meeting, from that presentation, is by 2035, the number of adults older than 65 will be greater than the number of children under 18. So clearly we are heading into an environment where we need to make some changes for our senior population. So once a city applies and is enrolled into this program, they'll belong to essentially this network that provides an extensive amount of resources such as best practice materials, assessment tools, and webinars to aid in the pursuit of this idea of an age-friendly community. So that was one presentation. The next new business item was the Senior Business Plan Needs Assessment review, which also did not call for any action. But the needs assessment is really a useful tool for the city to basically measure how well its strategic planning is aligning with and responding to the needs of a growing senior population of San Ramon. So kind of hand in hand with what I was just talking about with the AARP presentation. The last needs assessment done in partnership with the Senior Advisory Committee was completed in 2016, I believe, from my memory. So the new proposed needs assessment would aim to account for COVID-19 and how that's changed the needs of our senior community, as well as provide better alignment with the outcomes of our recent Parks Master Plan update. And on top of all this, the staff wants to include additional questions about diversity in the community, multicultural programming for seniors, and the use of technology and social media. So that was that presentation. And then, yeah, those were the two main ones for me.
Thank you. Our other, okay, Will, do you have a report?
Yes, the main things discussed at the Arts Advisory Committee meeting, we had it tonight, which was the election sign project. And then there was a review of a recent city survey of residents and people who identify themselves as artists in the community on their feedback on the arts programs and et cetera. So those were the two things that were primarily discussed at the Arts Advisory Committee meeting last month.
All right.
Thank you.
And our other Heidi, I don't know if she's still on or not. I think she may not be on at the present time. So Dawn, there you are.
Hi, sorry about that. I am just about ready to walk out the door, so I was listening. I don't have anything to report. I was not able to attend. I think it's the Arts Committee as an alternate. Will took care of that, and I will be traveling tonight and look forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Someday soon in person. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Safe travels. And Dawn, do you have a last report for us?
The Open Space Committee hasn't met since our last meeting. We'll have a meeting on Monday, and that will be, I guess, my last official event.
Okay, thank you. Well, I did attend the 2-hour meeting for the EDAC committee today. It was interesting because our speaker was Alexander Marin Jr. and talked about the Sunset development in the Civic Center. And he gave us things that, he was very concerned about through COVID-19 of the people that could not make it. And but he felt very good. Most all the companies that rent from them, usually that made pretty much all of them made their rent, which was good. And they did have to help a few and worked with them. But, he said the thing that they're working on now is the Summer Hill Homes. And we know that that's coming up, that they are feeling that that's a facility that will be taking the replace of the 2 buildings that they had decided that they wouldn't continue with them because they were older. And so they look for that to be. And then the hotel is still coming along, but of course, COVID has really stalled a lot of things. And they had very big concerns of, the COVID, how it affected the Civic Center and that, people couldn't come there and the restaurants especially. So he said that, the restaurants are now open and he's encouraged, but he said it's still a very problematic for them because now how businesses are doing business with, whether everyone's going to come back to work in the offices or whether they're going to work via, from home. So he thinks that there will be some changes that they will have to make because everything is changing. The transit they've kind of put on hold right now. So they were looking for, he just answered a lot of questions people had about the Civic Center and how that they hope to make it a real center. And then we're questioning how then that can become part of the city walk and all, and that can maybe be the downtown area. But, he talked for a lengthy time, so I'm just trying to give you some highlights. But he's, very, very concerned through this whole, and I'm sure that I can see why. In the Promise program, there are 20 businesses now involved in that. And so if you go with the Promises program, then, you know, there'll be some benefits for you as a person in helping people shop in San Ramon. That's the whole thing. And the city is exploring extending, having a farmer's market at the Daughtery station, because the other one where they had it at the sports park out there, it didn't work. So they're going to really visit different ideas to see if that will work there. So the discussion was, how can we get people in San Ramon to really become a city of San Ramon where we all work together and laugh and play and work and all. So there were many, many suggestions that probably took part of the hour there. So that was part of that. But it was interesting to listen to everyone's suggestions and how to improve our city and to work towards coming together. So that would be my report on that. And the one that I attended for the planning was they did approve the expansion of the Bollinger Canyon, not the golf course, but of the buildings that they want to go, with some restrictions on it. The main restriction was that the county had allowed them to be open every day until 2 a.m. And so the new restriction on that will be only Friday and Saturday will they be allowed to stay open till that time. And so that they did pass that, and it will go to city council on that. So that was
Carol,
main emphasis.
is it true that then the applicant has the option to move forward or not move forward based on the conditions of approval, right?
That is correct. So, I mean, the other conditions, they all seem rather reasonable, I think. And so I'm hoping that, and you can see why they want to expand, because the golf courses don't make any money anymore. And so this will give them more ways to, you know, keep the San Ramon bridges there open. So anyway, yes, they do have, that's back on their floor now if they want to go ahead with it and accept the restrictions. So that was their main emphasis on the planning. All right, I think we've covered everything. Now we have to go back to 8.5, and we're going to recognize our dear Commissioner, Mr. Beerbaum. And so I'm sure that Kathy, do you have a presentation that you want to make at this time?
Yes, I do have a few things that I do want to say, and then maybe we can open it up to the rest of the commission, who I'm sure want to say some nice things. But I do want to personally thank Don for being a commissioner, because Don, you've been a great Parks Commissioner. You've had lots of very wise comments that you've brought to the commission, both formally in the meeting and then even offline when we've talked. I've learned lots of important things from you, and I really appreciate your willingness to share some of those management thoughts and other pieces that really helped me personally grow as a parks director. So like I said, we're sad to see you leave. Your willingness to jump into issues and look for solutions is really been fabulous. And I know I speak for all of the staff on the Parks and Community Services Department when I say you will be missed, and they're going to be looking and trying to figure out how to hook you back in. So don't think that they won't be trying to say, won't you volunteer? Won't you consider? Won't you help out? And don't be surprised if I call you, just because I want to talk something through, and I think you have some really interesting perspectives. So thank you for your service to the city as a Parks Commissioner. It's not always an easy job, but it's an important job. And so we will have a parting gift for you. It's a little awkward with Zoom, but we are printing one of the beautiful Steve and Joseph pictures, and we're going to frame that with a mat that all of the commissioners will be able to come and sign, so that then you can hang that on a wall somewhere and think of all of us. So you'll be getting an email once we get that all pulled together. The pictures have been ordered, but they just haven't made it. Everything's a little slowed down still with COVID when you order something. So we'll get that done, and then we'll deliver that to you. So thank you, Don.
All right, I'm going to go from the top screen and we see Heidi's hand up here.
Yep.
And then I'll
My-
go to Julie after that and continue
Okay.
on.
My hand is enthusiastically up. I was just going to say, I remember when you were brand new to the commission, and I was on the commission for 5 years. Then I left for 2 years to do traffics, and you had already proven yourself a major contributor. I got back, and there's this highly seasoned senior commissioner, and I just have been so impressed with your evolution as a commissioner and your contributions as a commissioner. And I want to tell you that from my perspective and anybody I've spoken to, you have had a profound impact on our community. And I think anybody who can wrap up their tenure, who can say they've had that kind of depth of impact, that's success in my mind. And I really feel like, you've proven yourself, pleasant, funny. I love to see the humor coming out in you. And like Kathy said, wise, absolutely smart, somebody I would go to for advice, and professional. And so I feel like those are some of the excellent traits that you've exhibited, and you've set an excellent example in the following ways. I feel like your dedication has been unparalleled. You are there to do homework. You do your homework. You're focused on the task at hand. And anybody who does a job like this, those are critical qualities to have. You're brave, and that's really important. I think that's something a lot of us learn over time, is because you have to be brave in this position. You have to say what your heart says. You have to say what your truth is. And I found that you are absolutely, utterly brave. And I love that. And I will take that lesson with me. And also you stick to your convictions. And that's a very wonderful quality. So I think these are things that as you leave us behind and we continue on our adventures with this lovely commission, these are all lessons that I will take from you.
Thank you.
Julia?
Well, when I got the news, I was very upset, and I said, Don, this can't be true. You cannot leave. You must reapply. He said, it's too late. I already made my decision. And so I had to wrestle with the news and accept it. But Don, you have taught me so much about how to be a commissioner. You have given me guidance and really helped me navigate this role with the utmost of support and kindness. And I really appreciate that about you. We've had the pleasure of serving together on a couple of committees, and I've always, relished your input and really listened carefully. You've brightened my eyes to think and look at things slightly differently, and I appreciate that. We also got to interview all those teens 2 years in a row. We developed a really great system with Will, and it was actually really a lot of fun. And I felt like I got to know you on a deeper level too from that experience. When I was sitting down thinking about what I wanted to write about, or what I wanted to say tonight, I just started throwing out a bunch of just attributes that come to mind when I think of you. And the first was thorough. The second was honest, having integrity, a straight shooter. I mean, I know where you stand because you tell me how you see it and what's going on for you. You're investigative. You like to do your research and really uncover and really understand and learn. You're confident. I think that's where Commissioner Keniston Lee was kind of alluding to, that you aren't afraid to really say how you feel and your thoughts about this, which is to me confidence, but it's also bravery. You're extremely admirable in my book. I always enjoy our conversations and hearing about what you're doing, and I just like you as a person. And I also really appreciate your directness. I always like just hearing how you see it and tell me without trying to flower it up. So I think overall, I just want to thank you so much for your service, for your friendship, for your guidance, for your leadership, and you will be greatly missed by me.
Thank you.
And Will?
Excellent. Thank you. Hey, Don, I think we actually served for an additional 2 years since we did the teen interviews for 4 or 5 years. So I think that extra time together was really fantastic. As Julia said, we did have a great system that we incorporated into that. Enjoyed serving with you, enjoyed working with you prior to the commission as well. And I look forward to continuing both our friendship and our love of the city of San Ramon. So thank you and great work.
Well, I have enjoyed your work on this commission, Dawn. You've just been an excellent commissioner, and I just can't say enough how I have appreciated your thoughts, your investigation, and yeah, your little humor once in a while. But like everyone has said, you were honest, you were straightforward. I knew that when we really got to know you and Julia, when we worked on the facilities, it was a real hard task. And we had, we really had to work through a lot of things, but your guidance on that facilities, the depth that you dug into and really gave us, for me especially, more than I was qualified to do on pricing and things like that. I mean, I really respected your information and your talent in that area. And you're just what I would say, a great citizen, a great friend. I think that the city is losing a very person that will be missed, not only on our commission, but in the city. For you're working on the open space, that you're always open to new ideas. So I just have appreciated you thoroughly and feel like I have a real good friend with you, and I will hopefully we'll be friends for a long time. And so you've just been a wonderful person and an asset to this commission. So thank you so much for your service.
I think Scott.
And did I miss Scott? I'm sorry. I thought I'd got everybody.
No problem. No problem.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thanks, Chair Lopez. So Commissioner Birnbaum, it's really easy to think about how important you've been to me, this commission, and the entire community, really. But at the same time, it's difficult to see you go. I mean, I've been thinking about this now since we've gotten this packet, and it's hard to believe. You've been a pillar of wisdom and objectiveness. I really appreciate that, you've always made the residents of San Ramon a priority in your decision making. I love how you would take an issue, break it down, and would put it back together in a way that everyone could understand and see in a different way. It's very important quality. The bravery that Commissioner Kinnison Lee mentioned is really the sign of a true leader. I really want to thank you for all that you've done for me, I think this commission and really the city. So as Kathy mentioned, I hope you stay involved in some way, shape, or form. The city is definitely losing an asset and would be lucky to have you involved in some way. So thank you.
Do you want to give any closing remarks of your last meeting, Don?
By all means, and first and foremost, I really want to thank all you for the kind comments. I really am overwhelmed. When you listen to other people talk about you, it's kind of like, oh, really? Did I do that? So it was, I really appreciate that. And it's been an honor to serve with all of you. I've been fortunate to be able to work with you guys on the commission and the staff. And all of you put, the community first. We may not have always agreed on issues, but I always felt that even if we disagreed, each commissioner was putting, what they felt was the most important thing for the community. And that's all you can ask for. We're here to represent the community. And I feel each and every one of you does that every time you step up. And that's all the city can ask for. To the staff, my God, what a wonderful experience working with every one of you. Your passion for what you do shows up every day, you know, in your smiles and the enthusiasm. Kathy, what great leadership you've shown. You know, and your willingness to put up with me, okay? I'm not the easiest person. I think a lot of you have made some kind comments that I speak my mind. Yeah, sometimes I speak my mind and I probably shouldn't. Kathy, you've been, you know, a great listener. You've explained things to me, and you've helped me understand how things get done in city government, which is not the same way that things get done in private business. You know, as a leader, you know, you run a well-organized organization, but it does take a strong leader like you. And you've really shown your merits in the last 18 months. What your department and what the department has done to support the community has just been remarkable. And, you know, I am so proud to have known you and know all of the people involved. You know, in it, you know, I also have to say, Christy, every well-run organization has to have someone like you. You know, you sweat the details, okay? And you make sure that we all have what we need. And you have this wonderful smile that you always have when we ask you for something. And, you know, I can't thank you enough for everything. I'll stay involved in the community. And, you know, I've lived here for 35 years, so I'm not walking away from San Ramon. I'm just opening up a new chapter in my book. And, but, you know, this chapter has been a wonderful experience, and it's all because of all of you and what we've accomplished as a group. And I hope that, you know, you guys keep the enthusiasm that you have and the dedication you have. And I look forward to, you know, maybe visiting you occasionally in the council chambers and maybe even standing up and saying a few things. So with that, I will say thank you very much. And again, it's been an honor.
Remember, Dawn, if we hear you on Zoom, we know your voice. No, just kidding.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm sorry, Dawn, that we didn't get through in 45 minutes, but I think we're through before 9 o'clock, so that's good. And thank all of you for the work that you're doing and for your reports tonight. And so if we have no further business, we are adjourned.